of the mountain. We've got what looks like the young lines. Yes, it is. Breed and Ricciardello.
He's hit the wall there. Look at the damage on the front right.
Yeah. Safety car will come out now.
Yep. Full course yellows.
So it will
compress the field once again.
Yes.
Ambrose and Kelly have been having an absolute ding-dong at the front of this field. It never got more than half a second before the yellow flags came out. Let's see if we can... No, he's already hit the wall there. How many cars get caught out coming through Reed Park now? This is one of the trickiest, most decisive parts of the track.
Yeah, it's happened further back up the road here. This is the aftermath. He's run it around the edge of the track. And it's just pulled up on the edge of the gravel down there. Pad stop now for the 17 car.
You always hold your breath when they're doing these pad changes. There's so much potential for human error here. A car that's well placed in the race, one little hiccup. Fortunately, they're in a safety car period. And you can see they've got to use one boom, so the other car has to wait in the queue until the first one's served.
Steve, pump your brake.
So this one...
Pedal, I've got a pedal.
And the next
okay,
one
hold the
comes
green button for 2 seconds, please. Green button for 2 seconds.
See, they've taken to queue their cars again. They did that earlier in the day. They feel there's less net time loss around a long circuit like this than getting in that safety car queue and having to wait to get back into the lane.
Well, you can put 3 or 4 minutes.
Just trying to calculate what the effect is of this on the 6 car.
Yeah, when Craig Lowndes and Seaton did their changeover,
they probably benefit of it, I think. But I'm just going to crunch the thoughts here.
Pedal, please. Green button for 2 seconds. Watch your pit lane speed and pump that pedal up.
heading towards half race distance. And yet another safety car. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th safety car so far.
I was going to say, by the look of things, the driver's still in the car. The Tony Ricciardello's at the wheel. They were running in 22nd position before he hit the wall, and he's still sitting in the car. So he's given it a really hard whack. The speed as they drop through that fast left-hander through Reed Park up toward McPhillamy. Now both the lead cars are in. Ambrose is in. Kelly's in. So this is a critical stop. Pad change for the Holden Racing Team Commodore. Mark Skate gets in. These are the cars that were battling for the lead. And they've both come into pit lane together.
Just sitting here giving myself a headache trying to work out what this all means. Let's go to Rusty first.
The pads are out on the front right, just waiting for the guys on the left before they go right the way back with the pliers. It's taking a little bit longer on the left. Here we go. They got the nod. Both the guys nod to one another. It's away. Darryl.
The Ambrose car in. Russell Ingles has jumped in the car. Slight adjustment again to this car to the roll centre. Not that many turns like it had in the previous run. No brake pad change in this car just yet. They said maybe next stop.
Now this is going to be interesting. They're going to get out in front.
Yeah. Track position.
So that was a great stop by the Stone Brothers crew.
And they're taking their pad stop later in the day, which means that they've got to squeeze the calipers back even further. They'll squeeze the pistons back even further.
Reset the fuel, Russell.
Whether or not Lowndes makes an advantage out of this will be entirely dependent on where the safety car picks up the field and how it picks it up, and whether these guys were able to get in at full tilt or were they interrupted by the safety car. It'll play out. Ooh, that was sticky.
This is car 2 now in for its compulsory pad change. And Jim Richards in the...
Can you hear me, Jimmy?
Tony Longhurst just trying to help with a bit of a windscreen clean. But they're taking their time, doing it properly. A fair bit of pressure off because they're doing it under a full course yellow. And that pump the pedal call comes critical. Look at the temperature in those brake pads. Quite literally, not only cook your breakfast, you could burn your breakfast on those.
Have you got a brake pedal?
Rusty?
Well, Mark, you can actually see the way it's melted some of this material on the edge of the tarmac and the cement. Look at that. Look how hot those brake pads are.
Yeah, it's burnt a hole right through the middle of the bitumen. Unbelievable stuff.
Just grab hold of them and let us know how warm they are, Rusty.
No.
Under safety car conditions once again in the great race. A couple of cars with heavy incidents. We'll be back at Bathurst after this.
Aussie Mail Racing taking advantage of this full course yellow to try and rectify this constant throttle problem they've had. We heard John Bow talking about it earlier. And they are trying to put an elastic strap attached to the throttle to hold it, to make it spring back after you depress it. John Bow said it almost put him into the wall a couple of times because it wasn't springing right back and he couldn't get off the gas quickly enough.
Well, the frustrating thing is, Billy, he said this car could lap a second and a half quicker if he wasn't struggling with this problem. Now, this has got to drop him right to the end of the queue, and hopefully they can get the car out before the safety car comes around. The worst thing they want to do now is go down a lap. So there's plenty of frantic work going on there to get him out before that car comes around again.
One of these cars costs $200-300.
Keep going north.
400,000.
Yeah.
Hockey strap, $5 at the local hardware. It's the hottest part of the day right now. 25 degrees ambient temperature. The track soaring towards 40. Greg Rust.
Matty, I just thought we might try and give a bit of an illustration of the sort of things that can go wrong in the pit stop, particularly after what we saw go wrong with Garth Tander before. Here's the rough basics of what's behind the wheel in a V8 supercar. You've got this massive brake disc, 37.5 centimetres in diameter, staggeringly bigger than that in your road car. Here's the actual caliper, which would ordinarily be against the disc like that. Now, the pads sit inside here, and when, of course, the driver pumps the brake pedal with fluid pressure, it pushes those pads onto the disc, and that's your brake application. Now, what may have happened in the case of Garth Tander is that these pistons inside here, if he inadvertently hit the pedal too soon, if the new pads weren't inside the caliper, these pistons would come out, and they would be too big to fit the new pads in. Actually, I'm not going to touch those. They're off Larco's car. They're old pads, and let me tell you, they're still damn hot.
Thanks for that description, Rusty.
Brake pad 101 with Greg Russ in pit lane now. A fuel leak or something is leaking now out the back.
It never rains, then it pours, huh?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Well, they're going to get him back out. They really want to keep him on that lead lap. I'm not sure if they finished servicing that throttle. Maybe one of the guys down there can find out. But staying on the lead lap is #1 priority at the moment. So Bradley Jones will put this bush mechanic theory to the test. Just a simple elastic strap. 2 hooks on the end you can buy from any service station.
Where's Harry Firth when you need him?
Exactly. So hopefully that'll work for the Aussie Mail team. This fluid pouring from the front of the crashed Holden Young Lions car.
Yeah, as it's hanging off the side of the tow truck.
So fingers crossed for Brad Jones in the Aussie Mail Ford. It's been one of the fastest cars here throughout the week. Blisteringly fast in the top 10 shootout, pipped only by the Kmart Commodore. And these guys have been right in the thick of things all day.
When you come out of the pit lane like this and you've got to rejoin onto the safety car train, you've got to observe the fact that the yellow flags are out and run at a moderate pace, but you've also got to catch the safety car train. Bradley Jones, can you hear us at the moment? Hello, Bradley, can you hear us? We'll come back to him in a minute and we'll see whether we can get Bradley to pick up the phone.
Looks a bit busy at the moment. And Kim Jones and co are actually just making sure that
See the yellow flags out, so he can't afford to run full tilt. If the body language of the car suggests that he's not observing the yellow flags, they can ping him, but at the same time, he wants to get back in touch with this field.
They were just going back and forth there while we were trying to talk to Brad. He was already conversing with the team to give him an update on the $2 part. That so often can bring you down at Bathurst. The question is, can it hold these guys together literally?
So there's the cue, and Bradley Jones is just at the top of Conrod Straight, so we should catch him up fairly soon. That's going to put him right toward the back. At the back of the queue, in fact, but at least that keeps him on the lead lap.
Yeah, it means you gap behind the leaders okay, but the problem you've got is bad track position with look at the cars that you've got between yourself and the key runners. That's the drama.
That's what we've seen Mark Scaife get tangled up earlier in the day. Massive crowd in here at Mount Panorama today. Beautiful weather conditions, but as you can see, this cloud cover getting thicker and thicker as the day wears on. It was an absolutely cloudless sky when we started. And that's tending to bring the ambient temperature down, which is also helping to drop the track temperature as well.
Well, it's got a fair way to go, I reckon, yet, Marco, as far as conditions go. But right now, we're actually smack bang in the middle of the hottest conditions. At 1:30 local time, we're now now around 6 degrees hotter than when we started. Ambient temperature and some 11 degrees warmer on the track as they wind their way up Big Pond Mountain Straight. Such an imposing, awesome sight. Greg Murphy is our race leader at the moment. Can you hear us, Murph? Probably just. Hands on the wheel. No, hasn't got us.
I think he's hearing us, but maybe
he's
it's
getting a feedback. He wants to cut it, guys. Thanks.
So we won't leave Murph there.
Just look at the elevation at this mountain.
It's an amazing circuit, isn't it? Unique in the world.
So many spots all the way around this 6.2K circuit where you can trip over and metaphorically and kind of literally you can fall off the edge.
It's just incredible, isn't it? Look at it. Just unique on the planet.
More than 170 metres up. You don't realise it until you see shots like that.
Well, we've got an update from the pits. Daryl Beattie.
You guys, I listened to Marcus when he came in the pits that stop. He spoke to the crew. He actually said that the car was quite unstable under brakes during that stint. They made an adjustment, like I said, during that pit stop to the rear roll centre. And then he said to the crew that we changed the tyre pressures in the rear. The front tyres on that car were really worn bad, and there was a little bit of delaminating on the inside of some of the two front tyres on that car as well. And in general, Marcus seemed pretty happy with the stint and said when he goes out again, he'll be able to make it even better by just using the bars.
Yeah, he's certainly in the zone with that car. We look at the speed when he was locked in that battle with Todd Kelly before this safety car period. They were trading blows in terms of fastest laps. So if they can continue to tune that car to the track and to the conditions and maintain the pace, and we get to one of the typical sprints we have toward the end of these 1,000 races, they'll be well in contention for a win here. Certainly some great contenders still out on that track. A lot of quality cars. And the lower quality cars, as we always see, tend to weed themselves out as the day progresses.
Lights are out on the safety car. He'll guide him through the Caltex chase. Peel off into pit lane. And we'll have yet another restart on race day.
Greg Murphy ready to pounce. That lap car in front of him. Audi safety car peels off into pit lane, and the lap car goes with him. So Murph's got clear road. He's going to lead the pack down onto the pit straight.
Heading up to the control line.
Takes the
trips
green
it over
flag.
now.
Back to racing in the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000. Greg Murphy back aboard car 51. Stephen Ellery back aboard the Super Cheap Autos Ford. Mark Winterbottom now up to third place as they head up Mountain Straight, I should say, for the first time.
Marcus Ambrose peels away on the right-hand side. And car number 4, Russell Ingall, sorry, is back behind the wheel.
It's been a really good job by Winterbottom and Noski to get themselves up into such a competitive position.
Each one of these restarts is another opportunity for things to go wrong, though. Tyres have cooled out, brakes have cooled down, minds have cooled down. And if you go back through the history of this race in the recent past, Mark, you'll see that it's in these next few laps when the cars are all, in a sense, artificially put back together again, when it all gets crazy. They've got to sort each other out again, you know, sort the quicker cars to the top. They get tangled up with the slower, medium speed cars, and that's when all the craziness unfolds.
In this sort of track condition, how long would it take? How many laps before the car is truly back to its optimum racing situation?
Oh, probably one good hard lap if you get a good clear run on it, maybe 1.5 laps. Doesn't take long for everything to come back to normal, but the big area of caution is probably the first half lap after the restart. And we saw that great shot.